What's up, carnivores? Zach here with American Smoke, and today we're going to be cooking some delicious T-bone steaks on the PK 300. We're going to be cooking these my favorite way to cook a steak that I've ever found so far myself. I'm showing y'all how I do it, and then y'all can try it and let me know what you think. You can also share your comments with me down below and tell me what's your favorite way to cook a steak. Some people are purists. Some people are just salt and pepper only. That's all it takes. I have never been able to get into that very much. Some people salt, pepper, garlic. Some people go wild and crazy and do all sorts of stuff and marinate overnight. What do you like? Talk to me about that in the comments below. We're gonna get into this video right now. Okay, so we're making Zach's favorite steaks today, and step one on Zach's favorite steaks is salt. I usually like to salt my steaks about 2 hours before I do anything else to them. So what we'll be doing is we'll be salting these and getting them back into the fridge for a couple hours before we do any other marinade. I really want this salt to penetrate the meat. We've got 2 porterhouse T-bones here. I'm using coarse kosher salt because that's what I like to use. And I have tried overnight salt brine, and I have tried putting the salt on right before. And this 2-hour method is pretty much what I have decided I like the best. We're gonna let that sweat on for just a minute, and then we're gonna flip them over and salt the other side, and then they'll be going into the fridge for a couple hours. Let's go ahead and get these coals fired up, get this grill nice and hot so we can put a fantastic sear on those beautiful steaks. So emotional. This baby warmed up for the first time. We're gonna have so much fun together. I know we are. You're gonna be such a good grill. I'm gonna have to come up with a name. I think it's a girl. What do y'all think? It's got a big enough mouth. All right, so we got this thing smoking good. Next steps is just to continue to let it heat up, and then we'll be throwing our steaks on there. We'll see y'all in a little bit. So our steaks were in the fridge for about 2 hours. Now what we're gonna do and how to prepare Zach's favorite steak. Since these are large steaks, we're just gonna put them into separate trays. We've already salted these, so the next thing I wanna do, and this is just something I've come up with over the years that has kind of really shined. I cook steaks a lot of different ways all the time, and this is just my favorite way, so y'all can try this out if you like. But this is just low sodium Dales. I use the low sodium because I've already salted my steaks, and it's thicker. I know a lot of people that'll marinate their steaks in Dales and let them sit in it. I used to do that, and then I tried this, and I haven't really looked back. More than anything, I'm using this Dales as a binder to just hold everything on. You know, Dales has pretty much got everything in it that you want on a steak anyway. It's got all of your pepper and garlic and spices and things like that, some soy sauce. What we're gonna be doing next is some coarse ground black pepper. I go on reasonably heavy. Make sure that you get an even coat all around the steak. Next step, garlic powder. And what I'm really looking to see on this steak is I want it to sort of soak up all of that Dales and really bind. These are thick cut steaks, so you don't have to worry too much about over seasoning them because there's a lot of beef, and that's gonna really help compensate for the amount of seasoning that you're putting on. Now this is a little secret that I figured out not long ago. This is rubbed sage. I've got it in an old Himalayan salt shaker, but rubbed sage on a steak, I don't even know how I really came across this. You know, I'm always just trying stuff in the kitchen, and I just put a little bit of that all over it, and it just really adds something to it. I want somebody that's watching this video, try this out and let me know what you think, because I think it is spot on. So we're gonna flip those over. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. I know we've all got our little combos, little seasoning combos that we've come up with. Y'all let me know what y'all's are. If you haven't yet, just because of how good these steaks look, I want you to go ahead and hit that like button for me. It looks like this, like a thumb. Smash that, smash it good. And all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let this sweat on for just a few minutes while we try to keep the flies off of it. Meanwhile, I've got my PK over here heating up, and we're gonna sear the fire out of these bad boys, put a good crust on them. So we'll see y'all at the grill in just a minute when we get that going. So the PK is fired up and just blazing hot. This thing's putting off so much heat, I know it's gonna put a fine sear on these steaks. We're just gonna go bada boom and bada boom. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna let these cook And what they're going to do is they're going to get a good sear on them, and then they're going to kind of start to release from the grate a little bit. When you first put a steak on some of the stainless steel, it's going to stick a little bit, so you don't want to try to move it right off the bat. If you want to avoid that, you can spray your grate down with a little bit of vegetable oil. We didn't do that today because I'm just going to let them cook till they release a little bit. So let's just sit here and watch these steaks cook. Woo! Smoky mama. We've been on here for about 4 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and flip these. When I'm cooking steaks, I am not a 2 minutes on one side, 2 minutes on the other side, flip every 2 minutes type of a guy. Look at that sear on those steaks. Now, if you're cooking some steaks and you see a sear like this, don't freak out. That is going to soften up a good bit after it cooks for a minute and the juices start to release out of the top side. It's going to soften that bark up. We're going to let those cook for a couple more minutes, and then I'm probably going to flip maybe 2 more times. We've got the ThermoWorks Thermopin 1 that we're going to be checking the internal temp on. We're looking for about 125, 126, something like that. Currently, the inside of this T-bone in the strip is at about 85, and this one in the fillet is about 85. This one's a little closer to 100, so we're just going to be monitoring those really closely and pulling when they're done. We've already got a good bark on them, so we'll see out here in just a minute when we flip them again. Been another 3 or 4 minutes, give or take. Now, what you'll notice that I've done on these steaks, since these are porterhouses, I've rotated the fillet around to the outside. I used to worry a lot more about the counting the minutes, but y'all may or may not know this, but I'm a big fan of Aaron Franklin, who's considered pretty much a barbecue god, and he said that that's crazy. He said, flip them, keep the juices moving, and you'll get just as good a result, and I've been doing that ever since, and I am pleased with the results. So we're going to shut this thing down, got all the air shut off, getting a little fire inside there, and I don't want to overcook anything on the outside just yet. I will want to reinforce that bark towards the end, which won't be long from now, but right now, shutting it down, taking the temperature down a notch or two. Just about done. We're going to do one quick flip on these just to reset a bark on that side. One thing that I'm not used to with this PK is there is a lot more heat, a ton more heat. I will tell you this, from going from a char griller to this style of grill, the heat is much more intense, and so that's something you're going to want to be aware of. You're going to keep a close eye on it. That's 122. This one's just about done. We're going to give those about 30 seconds, and then we're going to pull them. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, these steaks are done. They look phenomenal. Great, great bark on the steak. We're going to let these cool for about 10 minutes. Still popping and sizzling. Intense heat on the PK. I'm going to shut this down. Now, according to PK's manual, this grill works a lot like a Komodo and allows you to shut it completely down, close off all the vents, and perhaps be able to reuse some of your charcoal because you get a complete oxygen shut off. So we're going to see how that turns out a little bit later on. But for now, we're going to rest these steaks, and then we'll be cutting into them and giving them a taste. First cook on the PK complete. Let's see how things turned out. I do feel that it's going to take some adjustment on my part, but the crust on this steak is just, you know, the stuff of legend. The stuff of legend. We're going to go ahead and cut into this and see, you know, what's up. Because I'm all about finding out what's up with the steak, baby. We'll go ahead and remove that fillet. Cut off the strip. Well, there we go. About time to sharpen the old Tombro knife, I think. Set that off to the side to gnaw on. I don't know if y'all gnaw on y'all's T-bones, but this guy right here is a T-bone gnawer. 100%. A little bit overcooked, no doubt about it. So we've got pretty much a medium steak, which is a little more done, medium to medium well, but this is the fillet. Let's go ahead and get into the strip. Yeah, it really got hot, really got hot. The heat on the PK is going to take some getting used to. It is a lot hotter, a lot faster, and conducts heat a lot more efficiently than what my char griller did. And so it's going to be a little learning curve. Let's check out this strip. See how it turned out. Man, that looks good. Juicy, delicious steak. Definitely gonna be a little bit of a learning curve, guys. If y'all got any tips for the PK, y'all let me know. I am taking on this adventure with y'all. Never cooked on one before, so we're all kind of doing this together. If you can also give me some tips on how to get rid of these river flies. Yeah, that's my favorite steak though. My favorite part of the steak is the filet. That's how I like to marinate my steaks. This steak is not the most perfectly cooked, but it is still a delicious, juicy piece of steak that ain't nobody gonna push off the table. Thank y'all so much for sticking around and watching this video with me. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel. If you haven't subscribed and you do subscribe today, make sure to hit that notification bell or I'll chop you with this knife. Just notice I'm like chopping with this knife. Chop, chop. Anyway, thank y'all so much and we'll see y'all in the next video.